an attention grab. It'll be really funny if, with all the attention, it ends up just being that the actor they picked to be Snake Eyes is actually only under the mask.
Exactly. So, man, with that being said, y'all missed out on our conversation there with the new G.I. Joe movie. But this is Mike with Just Our G.I. Joe Show, episode number 62. And I am welcomed with Hisstank board member Samson37. Man, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. I'm glad we were able to get you on the show. You came very highly recommended by another Hisstank member, Ranger Viper 88, who had pointed me out to you and your work and everything. And so to get really started in our little conversation we have going on here, just tell us about yourself and where people can find you as far as social media outlets.
Okay, for social media, you can definitely find me on Hisstank under Samson37. In the fan fiction area is where you'll find most of my work. I'm also on Facebook at Samson02. You can find that under fan fiction, the initiative. And you can also locate me on Patreon if you guys want to help me out with all this. And my Patreon for that is Patreon just Samson37. You can find me there. Cool.
That's good to hear. And before we get into it, a little quick bit of news, if there is really any news. If you heard us talking just a second ago, we were talking about the Snake Eyes movie. That's they just did a second unit assembles, whatever that's really supposed to even mean, I guess. Not really sure about all that. I'm not really holding my breath out for that, to be honest with you, until I see something like a trailer or a teaser trailer, something like that, would maybe really think like, okay, yeah, there's really going to be a movie. Hopefully it doesn't suck. For people who know, we've talked a couple times about the Finest and their charity campaign. They have 13 days left, and of course they've already hit their goal of their 147% of the $5,000 goal. So if you all want to go back, that's under Indiegogo, the Finest 2019 charity campaign. They do the calendars, patches. This year it is a calendar, a patch, T-shirt, and a Challenger coin, which I think is pretty cool. I haven't done mine yet. I still got a couple weeks, but I'm definitely probably going to get that just for the sheer fact of the coin, to be honest with you. Also, we do know that most people here do like, Transformers as well. For those who do not know, if we have any UK listeners, which I seriously doubt I do, but Hasbro has joined forces with, I believe it's Kapow Toys over in the UK, I believe. I might be butchering that whole story up completely, but the point is that they have opened up to where the UK members can actually now go ahead and give away their good 2-3 weeks worth of paycheck over this big plastic toy. And I'll be honest with you, here's how I really feel about it before we get into everything else, is that, you go to Hasbro Pulse, you would think, hey, we're trying to really push this, yada, yada, yada. It should be the first thing at the top of Hasbro Pulse. Nope. Not the first, not the second, not the third. The fourth story down is Unicron.
Wow.
They're trying to get funded for this, which, don't get me wrong, I think it's a great thing. I would like to really see it get done. I'm one of the ones that's going to wait till like the last hour to decide. But I'm really thinking, you're asking for 8,000 people and you're at 5,697. You've already extended the deadline out over 30 days. And let's say you're at least 50% of when you put the extension out there. And you really haven't done much more since then, in my opinion. I mean, 15 days to go, and you are 2,303 people away from getting this.
What's the price on that they ended up doing?
Oh, the very low price of $574.99 can be yours. The
Oh,
two and a
okay.
half foot, yeah, the Planet Eater will be yours for a mere $600, basically.
Oh, nice. All right.
Yeah, so you can pay that all at one time, or you can go through one of the outlets, such as BBTS, the Chosen Prime, the one I mentioned for the UK people, which of course I don't remember, and then there's one over Japan, the China number. So basically, you can go those routes and pay about an extra $125 to $150 and just put a deposit down
Oh,
instead of having to come up with the whole $600 right now, which is kind of a good deal. I mean, because you're not going to see this toy until 2021, the spring of 2021. So you're looking at least 18 months before you even have this item in hand. So I would kind of go that route personally. Do what?
I said, you'll forget you bought it by then.
I know, right? Then they'll be like, "Oh, hey, by the way, you owe us another $500-$600." What? Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's nice looking. It's great. Hasbro has finally come down with the band hammer and hit up Zeta Toys' version of Unicron and put their shit in the dirt. That is gone. Is completely missing from all social media sites now. But what kind of gets me is that after all these years of all these third parties knocking off all of these IP lookalikes and everything, it's Unicron that they finally say, nope, that's it. We're tired of it. Yeah, it took you how many years to finally figure this out? I think Hasbro is scared. That's why they put the band hammer on them. Hasbro is scared because they were afraid it was not going to fund the first time around. That's why they extended it. And then I think they're also scared because they opened it up to the China market. And just as of just the other day, they're still scared because they opened it up to the UKs. They are extremely scared. This here, I think they know the numbers from everyone so far. I think they have literally reached out to everybody and like, hey, what you at? How many numbers you got? And they're not there. It's not going to happen. I mean, would it be nice? Absolutely. Is it going to happen? Probably not. I just don't think it's going to happen at all. I just don't. Hey, looking at the chat. Hey, Chris, how's it going tonight? Glad you can chime in tonight. But with that little nip news, that's all really news. Let's see. IDW Comics. The new G.I. Joe. What's it called? Is it just G.I. Joe? Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Yeah, G.I. Joe. There's a new story, a new comic out called G.I. Joe. I'm going to find the picture that I was telling you about. Let me find it. I know it. You know what? I think, you know what? I put it in my. Let's see here. There it is. I put it in. So, what is wrong here? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, just making sure. Chrome tab. Twitter. All right, so you should be seeing. Yeah, there it is right there. Facebook page. I forget the name of it. I chopped part of it off. But anyways, my review of the new G.I. Joe #1, $4 I will never get back. Last I looked at this, they had 65 comments, and they weren't nothing nice. They were horrible. They were bad talking it. And we had talked about before we went on air was that the dude in the cover was Snake Eyes or Storm Shadow. Which one was it again?
I believe it was Storm Shadow.
Storm Shadow, and you said it's a dragon on the back of his jacket. Here, I thought it was a Tiger Force logo. It tells you where my mind was set at on that one.
Yeah.
So there's some people out there that aren't too happy with it. But like we said, and Rick had told me in a message was that, it's kind of like it's only 20 pages. What do you really expect to happen in 20 pages? Do you expect the fate of the world to be solved in those 20 issues or the biggest fight of the whole season? So granted, this person here wasn't very happy with his copy. And instead of, I guess he did the best thing he thought he could do, which was trash it.
Right. I'm not sure as far as the artwork through the whole thing. Certain artwork that I saw, a lot of people were complaining about it. Some people are, fans of, and then other people are really against it. It's this new look artwork that people aren't digging.
And I have to possibly agree with some people on certain issues on that. Is that I'm a big person of artwork. And if the artwork is something that I cannot get through to read a book, then that's what really kind of kills me. It's kind of like, they did Old Man Logan years ago, the first time they did his story. And then a couple years ago, they did another story of Old Man Logan. And the artwork was so horrible in it, I could not read it. It was so bad to me. It just wasn't my kind of artwork. So I ended up, if I can't read a book because of the artwork, I just stopped reading it altogether.
I agree. Well, I agree. No, that's been a lot of what's happened with IDW recently. Like even when they did the relaunch with the Transformers and Mask and all those connected, the artwork was so off that.
Oh, the recent one.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I did the Optimus Prime. That artwork is pretty. It's hard. Yeah. It's really kind of hard to look at it a little bit. Some of it can be good. Some of it can be really, really bad. And you're kind of like, man, I just can't get behind this at all. So there's, different strokes for different folks. People will buy into it for a whole story and they don't care what the artwork looks like. That there, my friends, you need to be reading novels. I've been reading comics for 30 years. Let me tell you what, to this day, I'm 40 years old. I cannot read a book unless it has pictures in it, which is pretty sad.
I'm not that bad, but I feel you.
I hear you, man. I hear you. So we're going to get into our topic here, man, which is you tonight.
All right.
Let's just dive right into it. Tell us here, why you do this? What got you into it? What was your backstory on like, hey, I'm going to start doing this?
Well, it was crazy. So I started following over on another site, General Joe's. He has an amazing Dio-Story that took him years to do over there. And I was following it. I was really falling in love with it. And I had just started reconnecting with the new 25th anniversary G.I. Joe line. And my son and I were hanging out and we kind of started taking some pictures because he was following the Dio-Story with me. And we took some pictures, put it up. I wrote a couple things down and I put it on Hisstank. And humorously enough, I got feedback. People were like, okay, so what's going to happen next? And I was like, well, I don't know. So I took a couple more pictures and did the same thing and got even more feedback. And it really kind of took off from there. And as my collection started growing, it became a challenge because where I want to take the story depended on at the time what figures I had. So I had to continually alter the story as I was going, which to this day, I still don't really write down the story. It's all off the top of my head on a week-to-week basis.
Oh, wow. And so basically, General Joe's kind of gave you your inspiration.
Oh, absolutely.
So as far as we get started, how did you come up with the title again?
Well, the initiative was kind of one of those things where I looked at it from a standpoint, what if S.H.I.E.L.D. basically brought G.I. Joe back? What was going on in the world to bring G.I. Joe back? And it was one of those, I kind of played off the thought process of S.H.I.E.L.D. as a whole deals with superpowered villains and so on and so forth. But how often do we ever see them deal with your basic terrorist group and stuff like that? So that's how I decided, you know what, we'll have Nick Fury pop in. And, Nick Fury knows everybody in the Marvel Universe. So I'm sure he knew General Hulk. And he made a proposition to him. Look, you can come back. We need you on this. It looks like the terrorist organization that you put down at one point is back. You guys know what you're doing with it. I'm going to let you run with the ball.
Gotcha. And just so people do know, we have a Range Viper 88 to thank for everything. Really, he pointed me in the direction here of Samson, and I should have actually got him on as the co-host tonight. I really should have, because he has all these great questions here that I'm looking at. And for people who I haven't even mentioned this yet, yeah, if you notice, Fred's not here.
Fred, where are you?
Yeah, I know. I messaged Fred this morning, asked him where he was at about 9 o'clock. About 5:30, he finally text messages me and tells me, after I send him the link, of course, oh, I'm still on the road. I don't know if I'll make it back in time. Okay. We'll leave it at that. So we'll just go on and go where we're doing. As far as the stories and dialogue,
right.
Where do you get that at? How do you come up with that?
Believe it or not, I do it in a reverse than most people would think. I kind of sit down and figure where the direction the story is kind of going at that time. I grab the figures and I actually take all the pictures first and play the scenes out more of like a movie in my head. And then once I've taken all the pictures, depending on the pose of the pictures and stuff, then I actually go back and write the words that way. I tried it the other way around, but kind of like storyboarding, when you have so many ideas, when you get ready to take the pictures and you realize, you know what? I don't have a helicarrier, or I'm not in the middle of the ocean. How the heck am I going to do this? So it was easy to take the pictures first and then be able to work in the environment that I had and then put the words to it afterwards.
I got you, no problem. As far as the characters you use, how do you decide on an episode which characters you're going to use? Or did you just kind of, guess that kind of goes to the first question, you come up with the story in your head, and I guess that's when you use you decide the characters, or do you decide, hey, I'm going to go with this group of characters for this story?
A little bit of both, actually. Again, it started off before I started collecting G.I. Joes when they relaunched. I was a big Marvel Universe fan, so I had tons of those. I pretty much collected them until the 3.75 figures burnt out. So I had tons of those, and I was like, how do I set this up to do it where I really don't have a lot of G.I. Joes? So what I started doing was working the situation where if I had a small unit, how would they fall into this? And I actually set more of the story along the lines of, from the aspect of Cobra, what they were doing, and then having G.I. Joe be more of a reactionary. So in doing it that way, it also made it a lot easier because you can throw any villains in a situation. But G.I. Joe being, a Delta Force type thing where you have to pick select, I was able to figure out who I was going to use for each mission or part of the storyline that I'm in, depending on what Cobra was doing.
Gotcha. All right. And when you decide to do an episode, how long? What's the whole process? Not the whole process, but I guess you can kind of mention the process. But how long does it take you to get an episode all together?
I have to work quick. I wanted to do something different with this, where a lot of people have done Dio-Stories and you see them and they come out and you'll read it and then you have to wait for a month, 2 months sometimes before you get the next part. And in doing so, people naturally lose interest. So I try to pace myself and go a different route. And what I decided to do is this is going to be a weekly thing. So literally I start the process Monday after work or so. When I get home, I'll start figuring out what I'm going to do, how I'm going to set the sets, and literally take some pictures and stuff overnight over the next couple nights. Thursday or Friday, I'll sit down and I'll start mapping out the dialogue and get it set up and do all the editing, and poof, it's back on for a Sunday night. Hopefully by about 6 o'clock is what I normally try to reach everybody.
Okay. Um, Now you've been doing this for, you told me, I think it was 4 years.
Yes. Since
How many more
2015.
years? Huh?
So since 2015.
How many more years do you think you got left in you?
I don't know. I guess how long the story goes and how long I have people following it, to be honest with you. It's one of those where we're so in the infancy of the story and there's so much more to tell. I'm honestly not sure exactly where it's going. I know where I want it to end, but everything in between is kind of on a week-to-week basis. The way the story was set up is up to this point, Cobra was doing what Cobra does and causing havoc, but was over a week period of time. So over the last 4 years, we started on, I believe, a Saturday or Sunday is the first episode or so, and then we're now on Friday of that first week, and everything that's taken place over the last 4 years has been in a period of a week time. So we're, I don't know, about 7 p.m. on a Friday, Eastern Standard Time, and Cobra's about to turn up again, and we'll see what happens as we go into Saturday.
I gotcha. I'll put up a couple of questions here. If you want to give your shout out to your links real quick, I think you came in afterwards, but where you can find you on Facebook as far as your links of everything, basically, I guess is where can they find to read your dialogue and stuff of that nature?
You can find that on Hisstank. My entire story is actually on Hisstank in the fan fiction section, and it will actually say the INITIATIVE Dio-Story.
Which is this one right here?
That's correct.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, cool. And another question he asks, I believe that is it all the super articulated figures?
The figures are any of them that come in the form of the 3.75 size scale. Any figures that you see of characters that weren't made are done by fantastic custom guys that I've met through Facebook and on Hisstank. Definitely another shout out to Range Viper 88 on that one. He has set me up with some remarkable customs.
So with that, I know this was one of his questions. This is one of my questions. The figures you use, how many of them are actually retail and how many of them are actually custom that you use? I mean, not figure number, but kind of like a percent number of what you use.
I would say at this point, probably about 70 to 80% retail and about between 30 and 20% customized.
Customized. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So if it's a rare Joe character that there was never really a figure of or a really crappy figure of, those are definitely customs. And as far as the Marvel Universe stuff, and now as we go into season 4, DC will be joining the fight. A lot of the rare random people that you normally don't see figures made of are all customs.
Okay. So basically, characters you don't see in retail, I guess is what you're saying?
Right.
Okay. All right. What is your favorite character or episode?
My favorite episode has got to be, I introduced Overkill into the storyline. And I did this real sinister aspect of the Joes raided a warehouse. And when they get in the warehouse, it's completely controlled by bat units. And I do this entirely grisly scene with a custom of Overkill that was made. Again, Range Viper 88 helping me out. That entire part of the story lasts about 2, maybe 3 weeks. Got tons of reviews. Everyone was really vocal on it. So I would have to say that was the episodes that were really good for me.
Okay. So we got another fan question here. Who is your favorite Marvel character so far? I'm assuming he meant The one that you probably have used in the shows.
I've used in the show. So far, I would probably have to say, oh man, Deadpool's been entertaining for me. I mean, he's entertaining for most people, but I've been able to, jump in and use his humor in the last couple sections to kind of break things up. He's also been my intermission guy. So for instance, if I've gone on vacation or whatever have you, if you're going through the story, I've done little skits where Deadpool's come out and helped me out to let you guys know that Dana's on vacation or he's got something going on and he'll be back.
I like that. I think we went through no, maybe we didn't. We didn't really talk about the process of making an episode.
Right.
So what's the process in getting an episode all together? I know you mentioned something along the lines of, you don't have an ocean and stuff of that nature to do them in. But there always is bathtub time, so you can always do that.
Right. Well, it's crazy. So when I'm doing the process and I'm like, okay, what's going to happen in this scene? The biggest thing is actually either finding props or location. And also at some point I need a maid or a cleanup crew, because when you take 15, 16 or more figures and you take them out the storage units and you put their weapons on them and you do all the, brouhaha, the pain in the butt part is putting them back. Oh my God. That's a killer. So, I've got a couple boxes now of figures that I've used in the last couple episodes, just kind of hanging out, waiting to be put back. I'm not sure when I'm gonna get to it, so stay tuned. But as far as set design and stuff, it's really what kind of grabs me at the time. There's a couple episodes where it looks like they're in the steam plant or the engineering aspect of the pit. And actually that was where my water heater is in my house. My water heater broke, and while I was waiting for the guy to fix it, I was looking at the pan and everything around. I was like, you know what? This looks like an excellent spot for my scene. So here I am laying on the floor near my broken water heater with lights and action figures taking pictures. And that's the way a lot of the scenes will come. It's been my bathtub. It's been underneath my cabinets. It's been, let's see, I even at one point turned my toaster on sideways, I think, so I could get this infrared light look going on. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Toaster, that's actually really cool. I like that idea.
Oh yeah. Some of the mystery, if you really found out what I was using for the sets and stuff, you'd be like, are you serious right now? And it's like, yeah, inside of blenders, you name it.
Oh wow, that's interesting to know. Do comments persuade you in changing your story or giving a character more scene time?
It has, yes.
Give us an example of that.
Let's see. The overkill was a thing. His whole section was going to be a little smaller. But because I got such feedback from him, I was like, oh, okay, you know what? Let me amp up his kill level a little bit. I had an idea of what I was going to do with him, but because everyone liked him so much, I was like, I guess he can rip somebody else's arm off before we keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, who else? What's funny? The dislike for Falcon Cap, if everyone knows who that is, it's where Falcon took over Captain America's reign. Everyone disliking him so much has kind of unfortunately put him in dire circumstances. I won't tell you what's going to happen to him, but let's just say, someone else may be holding the shield at some point. Also, Sergeant Major Haley, another one of the Hisstank guys, he was a big influence. He was an influence to the point that there's actually a character in the entire storyline that's lasted close to a year, where it's actually named after him. He actually hit me up, and we went through what his character would look like, the attitude of his character, and he actually led one of the missions that's been carrying on through the story.
Okay. All right, here we go with another question.
All right.
Will Thanos or Darkseid show up?
Will Thanos or Darkseid show up? Probably not. The problem and what made this really tricky was having heroes and villains pop up on the show, but not to the point that they were just so overly powerful compared to G.I. Joe that, we'd kill the entire team within an episode. So I think those guys are a little too powered for the situation. The one I end up going with as like the mega boss level bad guy of the whole series is actually Apocalypse is going to be the thing, because it falls into Cobra's whole grand scheme of terrorism across the planet.
Okay, well, since you mentioned that he is the big bad guy, the whole thing, the next question from the same person is, do you know how it will end already?
I don't. I do not know how it's going to end. Humorously enough, even the entire Apocalypse thing turning into the back end of the storyline wasn't initially planned. The storyline was going to be more of a political type genre, where Cobra basically used a nanite bomb that they ingested. Well, they actually put into the water supply around America. And once it was put into the water supply, it was going to set off more of race riots and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, when I got halfway through that part of the storyline back in 2015, as you know, our political atmosphere had changed. So I decided, you know what, I can still use part of it, but we'll streamline it and use Apocalypse as the survival of the fittest type aspect. So there's still some aspects of the original direction I was going, but Apocalypse kind of smooths it out to make it more of a comic book PC feel, if you will.
Another question from the chat. Ever think about stop motion?
Ever think about stop motion? I have thought about it. The only problem is I'm on such a tight schedule. We're popping these out every week. I don't have the patience or the skill set, to be perfectly honest with you, to do stop motion and be able to produce it that fast. So I'm just getting pretty decent with using, the different photo shop type gimmicks to make my pictures work. If you can imagine, all this is still being done on my cell phone with an app on my phone. All the pictures and everything are taken from that.
Really, it's amazing. Be amazed what some people can do with just their cell phone nowadays. It's crazy. Let's see here. Solutions, massive undertaking. Yeah, that's what another guy here was saying, that stop motion is a massive undertaking. I think I've watched some stop motions and other fandom stuff. Man, the stuff they do is like, man, I just don't see how they have the patience for it.
I'm telling you.
You have to stop it in order to do this. Take a picture, stop, take a picture, move it, stop, take a picture. I'm like, I think I would literally lose my mind about that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I enjoy the fact that they do it. They're a talent, but good Lord, not here.
It's kind of like someone did a stop motion video I saw in a group on Facebook of Master. I think it was MP10 and I forget which Megatron. Those are both masterpieces, and they reenacted the Hoover Dam scene.
Oh yes, I saw that. That was crazy.
And that was from the first cartoon, and the way they did. I mean, the dialogue on that is amazing. It's just I truly felt like the dialogue in that episode was the best dialogue of the whole series. To be honest with you, that's my opinion. So, because Prime got so much into the talk of it, to where he kind of, got a little bit of a pussy through the rest of the show. But that first episode there at Hoover Dam, boy, Prime was like, he was a trash talker.
Oh yeah, you forget that Prime was the real deal. You know, they toned him down, and then he went out with a blaze of glory in the movie to really remind you of just how tough he was. Like he put everyone on notice, and then they killed him. But you know, that's all traumatic.
We blame Hot Rod for that. It's all his fault.
Absolutely, Hot Rod did it. I want a T-shirt that says that. Make it happen, somebody.
I know, right? All right, Des has another question. Ever think about incorporating other random characters from quick cameos, like the Halo Xbox guy as maybe a special ops guy? Halo Xbox.
Yes, actually, I just recently, if you've been following the last couple weeks, you'll actually see that John Wick made an appearance.
Yeah, you did. I saw that.
So John Wick has made an appearance, and he was his services were bartered between Dr. Doom and Tony Stark. So you know, imagine how that went. So random characters like that will pop in from here and there, depending on what's going on or how I can incorporate them. It's kind of the same way like the whole DC thing now that they're about to come in on season 4. I just had a certain kind of scenario that made sense for them to be able to come aboard. That's one of the biggest things I'm trying to do is I'll throw random people in there, but it has to make sense.
Right.
For instance, like Amanda Waller from DC, Suicide Squad. She just made an appearance as well, because another government agency, you know, those are all over the place, these fandom agencies. So of course, all those kind of agencies make sense to be connected with G.I. Joe, S.H.I.E.L.D., so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's true. Des, he said John Wick appearance was dope. Is it hard to find? Oh, here we go. Here's a good question. It's a very good question. Is it harder to find female figures for stories or ethnic figures?
You know what? Not really. The way my story has played out, I haven't really had that trouble. Luckily enough, Marvel and DC and G.I. Joe, actually, they all have enough characters that I can incorporate a little bit of everything. And on top of that, if it's not made, there's a bunch of great customizers out there that I do contact to get things made. So if there's a female character that I do want, you know, I'll contact somebody and they'll start making them, which would be great, guys. If you, again, little short plug, pop over to the Patreon and throw some money that way. So when I'm getting these guys made, because they've run everywhere from $80 up to $150 a pop just for a character to show up in the storyline that might be in there maybe 7 shots. But the female figures definitely carry weight in my story. Scarlet has been big. Baroness, of course. I did have Captain Marvel in there for a moment. She has a big going out party. So if you're someone who doesn't like Captain Marvel, stay tuned. I will be taking care of that little situation, just as a teaser. And as I also incorporated Misty Knight, which is a big sleeper hit. If you guys followed Marvel Knights, or if you followed the Luke Cage show on Netflix, Misty Knight was big for a moment in my story as well.
I don't know if you kind of answered this or not. Do you have characters that you dislike but don't really know how to get rid of yet?
Yes. There are a few of them. Humorously enough, Tony Stark was one of them. Iron Man.
Really?
Yeah, I put him in the story, and I was like, well, I can't really blow him up, and because that was my initial plan. I was going to actually, I was like, that's too much shock value. People might not. So the way I actually kind of kept him out of the main story thus far, if everyone's been following, is I set up where he had to go have a little conversation with Destro over in Scotland. And while he's been over there, he's been out of the way of the main story because he's just not a fan favorite. Again, Captain Marvel, I'll be taking care of her at some point, definitely.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Let's just say, without giving the whole thing away, she will say hello to Sentry. And for anyone following the story or people who are just jumping on board, Sentry is being controlled through the Purple Man by Cobra Commander. He is his pet. Kind of like what Norman Osborn did, but kind of also on a different level. He is his pet. He takes care of any of the superpowered or overpowered people that might step in Cobra's way. And he's kind of like sitting up on their mass device satellite right now, just kind of hanging out just in case anyone tries to mess with the satellite. He's up there waiting. So eventually I'm setting it up where they make it kind of obvious that they're using the mass satellite, and Carol goes to take a look, and well, we'll see what happens to Miss Marvel. Let's just put it that way.
I'm looking forward to that episode. Too much.
Let's see.
Tony Stark and Destro is an interesting angle for storytelling.
Yes, it was. Again, it was the way the story is played out is Cobra Commander, the way I wrote him, is I wanted some of his quirkiness from the animated series that most of us grew up on, or at least my generation grew up on. But then I also want the angle of this man used to run pyramid schemes, and anyone who runs pyramid schemes has got to be ruthless and cutthroat. So I wanted to put this angle on him where he kind of had a nervous tick where you couldn't really tell what angle he was coming from. But on the same note, he was willing to do pretty much anything to get the job done. So he actually kind of directed Tony Stark in the direction of Destro to kind of take out two people that he kind of wanted to get out of the way. Him and Destro have a love-hate relationship. And I thought it would be interesting to play on the fact that they're both technically arms dealers, whether Tony wants to admit that aspect of his life fully or not. That's what he started with. So it made logical sense that at some point in time, along with Hammer and a couple of the, AIM, all those guys would have to come in contact with Destro and his Mars organization if they're all selling weapons of one sort or another.
Des has another question.
Mortal Kombat projects in the future. I feel like Jackson and Sonya fit in perfectly. They do. Humorously enough, I've looked at that, but I want to make sure that I didn't get so far wrapped up into bringing in tons of new people that I strayed away from the initial story of what I was trying to get at. And again, the play on this is Cobra Commander has designed this weapon to take out half the population of the United States. And in doing so, will set up basically what he feels he'll be able to set up a new regime and a new government by taking out, whoever. And the way he's actually set it up was at different points in time on different days, different races would actually start to explode. He detonates the bombs and, poof, we've got 400 Latin Americans just exploding wherever they're at. And then the next day you have African Americans doing the same thing. And then the next day you have Caucasians. So no one can really trust each other. And it was to set up a form of isolation and mistrust among everybody. He made sure to go through and do things like he trapped the Fantastic Four in the negative zone because, Reed Richards, with his mindset, would probably be able to figure out how to take care of it. He set up a civil war going on in Wakanda. He did an assassination attempt on Doctor Doom, but made it look like it was Destro, again, just to put Destro on his heels. He poisoned one of the twins, Zamos and Tomax, just to make sure that they stay under his lock and key. So he's made sure to pretty much cover a lot of these bases. He even made sure to go attack and have Psylocke, who's working for him, lobotomize the Beast.
Oh my dear Lord! No. Cool.
Yeah. So we want to take out a lot of the big brains. So they were preoccupied with other things. He told on AIM. And currently in the episodes, G.I. Joe is with a few people and they're fighting AIM right now, hoping that they'll be taken out. He's hired Baron Zemo to he's actually has Falcon Cap. Zemo's in the hands of Falcon Cap. Stay tuned on that one. And he's using what's his name? The Executioner, part of the Masters of Evil with Zemo. He actually were Cobra supplies and everything wherever they're going, so they can't be traced. So it's been a big deal and a big setup. The biggest curve on all of this up till now has been Cobra Commander started hearing voices basically in his head. And he was approached by Ozymandias, which is the foot soldier of Apocalypse. And Ozymandias informed Cobra Commander that Apocalypse has been following his plan, and he enjoys the fact that it's basically setting up survival of the fittest, something that Apocalypse stands by. So to help aid him, he has set it up where he's given him the direction to find the Four Horsemen. And once Cobra has all Four Horsemen to use at his will, basically to set everything up, then Apocalypse will arrive. So that's kind of where we're at now. He's currently got Nemesis Enforcer. Craig found him. We found out that Pythona is actually imprisoned in a sarcophagus inside Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum. So Cobra's on their way to the Sanctum to actually try to free Pythona. Globulus is in the Savage Land. So we'll be seeing Kazar at some point. And humorously enough, the Fourth Horseman, I have no idea yet who it is. It possibly will be a Marvel character or someone from DC. So we'll see where that goes when we get to the Fourth Horseman.
Cool. All right, we're going to go into another screen share.
Sure.
We're going to go to your... All right, so this here is the Hisstank boards where they can find you. If you look at the very top, it says underneath G.I. Joe fan fiction, the INITIATIVE Dio-Story. So if you want to find anything for him or read up on everything, he's got up to 78 pages on here, or at least the way I have mine laid out on.
No,
So
I'm actually at 100, and we're up to 150 something pages right about now.
Well, see, I have mine set where it shows so many posts. You can set it up to where you can show either 5 or 10. Mine's set up for 10 posts is what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 10 posts per page, where most people don't know you can actually change that. But usually most of the posts are 5 per page. But mine's 10. So this is not the last one, but this is the one before last. And this is the Hulk and Domino and Deadpool. What does each one have its own title? I just didn't see it here.
What I've done is I went back a while ago and I set up into chapters. So currently we're on chapter 27.
Okay. Is it chapter 27 episodes so many, or is it strictly
Just chapter 27.
chapter 27? Okay. So,
yeah, we're up to 156 pages.
Okay, so it's double than what I'm seeing here on mine. Okay. All right, so this one here starts off with the Hulk. Looks like Domino's made a mistake. And then all your texts are in between pictures. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Hulk, you guys are determined to get your asses handed to you, aren't you? Stop shooting me, y'all. Pissing me off. Domino has that eye on her look like WTF. What have I just done? That's the way I get. Because you see that one eye. It's like, oh,
exactly. Yeah, right.
And then Domino can't knock us for trying, Mr. Banner. And then, of course, crazy Deadpool on top of the roof, shooting back of the head. Hulk says, "Hey, well, stop it." And then he shoots him again. Wilson, knock it off. You're already skating on thin ice. Still shooting him, making him more mad. Shoot him some more. I'm being so serious right now. It's like, how can you tell he's being serious? It's funny, though. Like that. How did you even get up there? Where's he up at? Is it like in a tree or something?
Well, he was sitting on the roof, but the episode before that, he was off on a ridge, and he basically the setup for this episode was they went to go capture Chuckles, who had gone to speak with Dr. Banner, because earlier in the episodes, Chuckles has actually injected himself with Hulk blood, and he actually hulked out at one point to get himself out of a situation. So he wanted to be able to control it. So when he went to go see the Hulk, basically to get some advice on how to do this and to stabilize himself, X-Force showed up looking for him. So this is the aftermath of them showing up initially. Okay.
The Playhouse here is what's that from? I'm just curious.
That is from oh goodness, what's the name of those guys? World Peacekeepers.
World Peacekeepers. Okay, just curious.
Yeah, that can be found on, I believe you can find that on the Walmart site.
Okay. And I like how I've noticed in the first few scenes here that you added like the smoke to the gun, and then the bullets, I guess, bouncing off of the Hulk, stuff of that nature.
Right.
Now, what happened to the poor little doggy over here? Did he get shot? Is it a ricochet?
Oh no, that was during Chuckle's initial assault on the spot. It was basically a safe house for Banner to do his work, and Chuckles was aware about it. So when he went in, he kind of smoked everybody, including the dog.
Poor doggy.
Sorry, Peter.
What did the dog ever do? All right, Deadpool, I have to say, green jeans, that I am a tad offended that you don't think we could take you. Hulk, wait, I'm in no mood for you, you bozo. Set me back like a month with the work messed up. Now come down so we can get this squared away. He shoots him in the head again. And again. Stop that. I can see him doing that. Well, have it your way. I remember, okay, yeah. Okay, he does the stomp. Does he stomp his foot, or is that like the fist stomp?
Yeah, he stomps his foot.
And then Deadpool falls off. He catches him. This will be the perfect place where, yeah, you caught me. You do care. It would be really cool if he would do. Was it in a movie where I think it was where he got caught in one of the movies, and he went and like, if it was Colossus, matter of fact, and he went and tapped him on the nose.
Yep.
That'd have been funny right there, tapping the Hulk on the nose. You know, being in your big, strong arms is slightly amusing. That's funny. You just never know when to quit, do you? I've ripped y'all in half, punched your heads off, and every time I see you, you're determined to piss me off. Okay. Quick question. Have you and Betty ever done it while you were the Hulk? That's why I didn't read all this earlier when I was looking through the pictures. I see why. You're a creepy little man, Wade. Yes, he is. I'm just saying, she's a MVP. Then again, all her clothes would
No, all his clothes.
then again, all your clothes would rip off, but your pants. So, just saying, calling you incredible might be premature. You suck. And then we have more Night Force Warpath. No more fun and games. Hulk, UX people just don't know when to quit. Hulk, well, quitting time is here. I agree, X-Force, stand down. Wolverine, the man of reason. What's
Go
up?
figure.
I know, right? Of all people. Now, looking at this, is this the retail or is this the custom?
That's a retail.
Okay, I was trying to see if that had some extra paint added to it or what. Let's see, I figured no point in us tussing when we weren't here for you, no way. We lost our guy. Want to tell me why the spook came to see you? Smart choice. He didn't come to see me. He came to see Banner. He came here rambling on about a conspiracy involving the vice presidents and government bigwigs and a terrorist organization. We need Banner's help with stabilizing himself. He interjects himself with our blood. Yeah, I was there when he hulked out for the first time. Any luck stabilizing him? Which I find very interesting is that I guess this Green Hulk can talk sentences. This is more like in-game Hulk.
Yeah,
and
more right. This isn't the savage piss you off Hulk.
Okay, this is the one. This is the Hulk where I talk normal people talk. I got you. I was just curious because I was thinking, well, if he's talking, then I would think he'd be the gray. But then also I want to say, well, which one is he actually? Hulk don't know, hard tell. Banner at this point, prepping a test run. I was going to smack him through the wall, and if he hulked out and didn't splatter, I'd say it was a success. But that didn't happen because you guys showed up. Wolverine, his exact reason was for wanting to hulk up. Hulk, he says he needed to be able to stay alive long enough to take down the VP. Being able to regenerate from becoming Hulk was just to help his cause. So I guess you'd have to go back and read all these other episodes there to see what all's going on, because reading it now, I'm kind of lost. Hulk, do you listen? Listen to you, and the Scooby Gang needs to go. This isn't a SHIELD compound. It's run by Amanda Waller. Wolverine, I hate her. Hulk, most people do, but Banner didn't check in. So a task force is on its way. So unless you guys want to make the most wanted, scram. Wolverine, thanks, Public Force. Let's go. Hulk, something to say, kid? Warpath, I could have taken you, old man. Hulk, sure, kid, sure. You get your milk and cookies on the Quinjet now. That's funny. X-23. Shouldn't someone go find Way? Nightcrawler, I suppose, yes. Domino, well. Wolverine, none of this is sitting well with me. Something was off with Banner. I should have never been able to get the drop on him. Domino, so what are you saying? Wolverine, SHIELD, Delta, we're all having our strings pulled. Yes. Domino, so that means what exactly? Are we scrapping the mission? Wolverine, I don't know, Dom. My beef is with Banner, but I'm telling you something was off with him. If this is a bigger government conspiracy, I'm not sure I want you guys involved. We take out threats to our kind, but nothing has been done towards ours. So I may pull you and the team back until we get more on Banner, this agent, and what is going on. Domino, Well, we're involved now, so I don't see the point in splitting up just for us to get green light again. Wolverine, you may have a point. Let's collect weight and go from here. Domino, since you're in the mood to listen to reason, maybe we should just leave Wade. Perhaps he'll get eaten by a bear. Wolverine, I wouldn't do that to a bear. Let's see. Waller, why haven't you checked in? Hulk had company. Walter, where? Well, Hulk, everything is taken care of. Just send a new protection team, Walter. Mm-hmm. So that was episode, or I think about chapter 27.
Yep.
And then there is currently a 28, which we won't go into that. So if people want to read these, go to the Hisstank forums. I just basically did the campfire reading of chapter 27 for y'all. And so y'all can definitely go over to Hisstank forums underneath Fan G.I. Joe Fiction and read through all that. All the chapters are there, correct?
Yes, the entire story is on there.
That's cool to know. All right. Let's see if we got any more questions here. Let's see. Love to see some dinosaurs. Who's going to be the first? Who's going to be the first DC guy? Do you know yet?
First DC character. I've kind of got it set up where Lex and Vandal Savage will be saying hello to probably start the process off.
Oh, Vandal Savage. That sounds cool. One last question. Any of the previews from Star Wars excite you in regards to heads for customs? Carl Weathers comes to mind.
I would love a custom with the Carl Weathers. Actually, the one I'm using right now is, and oh man, what's his name? He was in the last episode. I'm sure that helps. Oh goodness, what is his name? The black guy who had he was in Rogue One, excuse me. And he was the crazy guy they went to go see, and he had to breathe through the apparatus and all that good stuff. What is his name? Give me 1 second, I'll pull it up here. I know I've got it because I just picked up his head because it's an amazing sculpt. And he's going to be actually an ambassador for Wakanda. Humorously enough, he was actually in that movie too. I'm hoping someone can help me. He was the elder who ended up getting killed in Black Panther. What was his name? Anybody?
Forrest Whitaker.
Thank you. There we go. So they have a sculpt of him from when he was in Star Wars, and it's fabulous.
He had a crazy looking character in Star Wars.
Right. He's got this like that wild gray afro thing going on. And the sculpt on his Star Wars figure is fantastic. So I actually bought one of those and popped off the head, and he will be showing up as a ambassador for Wakanda. Yep, the Rogue One. It was the Jeddah Revolt figure that came out. You can find them super cheap through all the China markets now, so you don't have to pay retail. Just FYI for everybody.
I have one question. I know over on Stasis Lock, the Beast Word podcast, we always end off in a question with our guest.
Okay.
Where if you ever watched Beast Wars, the question for a Beast Wars guest would be, was Tigertron a dick? So I kind of am stealing their idea for tonight. Okay. And with you, I'll ask you, was Cobra Commander a dick?
Was Cobra Commander a dick? You know, It depends on what iteration. I think that's part of what makes Cobra Commander an amazing character because of his dickish, childish, sociopath, psychopathic ways. That you could kind of go in any direction. And even when I've written him, there's been inspiration drawn from, let's say, the villain from Passenger 57. I also enjoyed the guy in Die Hard, the villain in Die Hard. He's an amazing villain.
In the first one?
Yes, the first one.
Oh, Zuber.
Yes.
Fall off the tower, Nakatomi Towers.
Yeah. Like he has that very nervous tick, but very calculating and cold. He'd probably push his mother in front of a bus, you know, and then say she tripped and be perfectly okay with it. That kind of attitude is kind of what I always envisioned Cobra Commander as being. I always felt he would have been a perfect Cobra Commander, personally. I think they strayed too far in making him comical, where you can be a dick but be serious. So I'm kind of on the middle of the road on whether or not he was a dick. I think he should be. I mean, you run an organization that was built from pyramid schemes. You have twins that talk in unison. You have a woman walking around in skin tight leather outfits and a man with a metal mask. You need to be a dick to be able to control those people.
That's true. That's so true. Well, man, I appreciate you making the time to come on the show. And
I appreciate it.
I'm glad we can get an interview before you, and hopefully maybe this helps you out a little bit down the line, getting more.
I hope so. I hope so.
People watching, hopefully you get some patrons to help you out.
Yes, that would be great. I've got a couple ready sets and extreme sets I need to purchase for the next coming episodes. So anyone that want to jump over there and donate, I'd greatly appreciate anything.
Okay, and again, where can people find you at social media wise?
You can find me obviously on Hisstank under Samson37. You can find me on Facebook under Samson02. The easiest way to type it in is if you put in fan fiction, the initiative, it should pop right up. That's the page where I just mainly give updates on what's going on and the newest episodes. And over on the Patreon, you can find me at Samson02. Nope, I'm lying. Samson37. You'll send me no money if you're going to Samson02. It's Samson37 over on Patreon.
All right, that's great, man. I enjoyed having you on. I hope people go there and read them. I know I want to backlog some of those and read them. But my name is Mike. You can find me everywhere as Angry Mike, and now on Twitter as The Angry Mike, which me and Dakota were playing around one night. We'll just change it again. Call it The Angry Mike. Make it a little more angrier, I guess. I don't know.
I'm feeling the anger, Mike. I'm feeling the anger.
Yeah, I always have anger all the time. Explains a lot of my life. So thanks for watching, everyone. We appreciate it. It'll be up on video form in a little bit. And we'll see you all in 2 weeks, and have a good evening.
All right. Thanks, guys.